Hare Krishna. So, this is a bonus video for the air week. I had received a question about an explanation about how is air connected to the mind. How do we understand it? Like it occurs even in the yoga system or in the Ayurvedic system. So, today we are going to understand in this video how air is connected to the mind. Okay, so I want to speak about something that appears again and again across different Vedic traditions and in Bhagavad Gita, in Upanishads, in Ayurveda, in yoga, and even systems like tarot, in fact. And the idea is, at first glance, this can feel very confusing or abstract. So I want to explain this very simple, using everyday examples, metaphors, so that it is easy and not too much heavy philosophy. So before going to the scriptures, I want to start with a simple question. Have you noticed that when your mind is anxious, or when the thoughts are racing, or when you feel overwhelmed, your breathing changes. It becomes shallow, or it can become fast or irregular. And when you're calm, your breath becomes slow, deep, steady. This alone tells us something very important. Mind and air are already connected in your lived experience, isn't it? Now, scriptures did not invent this, they observed it. Yeah. So let's look at the air first. What's air like? It's invisible, it's always moving, it cannot be held, it can be gentle or it can be stormy. It carries sound, it carries scent, it carries pollen and enters everything. And now look at the mind. It's invisible, always moving, cannot be held, can be calm or turbulent. It carries thoughts, it carries memories, it carries impressions. And everything that you can perceive, it can enter there. It can even go to sun. So same qualities, same behavior, different level of reality. And this is why air becomes the best metaphor for the mind. Not because they are same substance, but because they function the same way. That's the essence of the similarities between air element and the mind. So now let's look at how Bhagavad Gita talks about it. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 4, Krishna is saying, Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhir, Evacha. So it's like earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, and intelligence. He has listed these components of material nature, moving from gross to subtle. Gross means something that you can touch and feel, like solid, and subtle means that you can perceive but not really touch and see. Okay, so notice the order. Earth, water. So earth is solid, water is fluid. Fire, which is transformative. It's you cannot call fire solid or fluid, but it's you can still perceive it. And then air, even more subtler. Movement. And then ether, space, even more subtler. Then mind, movement of impressions. And finally, intelligence, which is the absolute discernment. So air and mind are placed side by side. They are more like two parallel things, one external element and one more subtler version of it. Yeah, why? Because air is the bridge between matter and space. Similarly, mind is the bridge between the body and the consciousness. They play the same role at different levels. Okay. Now let's look at the different air or the pran and vayu and mind, so that confusion gets more clearer. Let's clarify some common doubts. So Vayu means movement principle. Okay. Pran means life force moving through that principle. And mind or manas is where that movement shows up as thought. So when the Upanishads say that mind arises from prana, they are not saying that breath is creating thoughts. They are saying that without movement, thought cannot happen. No movement, no thinking. And stillness means quiet mind. And that is why, for meditation, you're when you begin practicing meditation, you sit still. Even in the practice of traditional yoga, the asanas are meant to support you to be still, but the actual yoga begins after the asanas and the pranayamas. Yeah. So once you learn to sit still, then you move to the breathing. And once you learn to control your breath, you can control your mind. And that's why when prana is disturbed, the mind is also disturbed, and when prana is steady, the mind becomes steady. And this is all yoga. So this is not something mystical, this is something that you can very easily observe. And yoga makes it practical also. This is why yoga works with breath. Yeah. Not because breath is magical, but because air is the handle to the mind. You cannot control your mind. So instantly, when your child is frustrated or when somebody is frustrated, what do we tell them? Calm down, take deep breaths, take deep breaths. Because we know to control the mind, you need that handle of air. Yeah. And you cannot grab the mind directly. simple. So you can work with the breath, the space, and movement, which is all elements of air to control the mind. That's why pranayama calms thought, slow breathing reduces anxiety, overstimulation agitates the mind. Yeah. So yoga understands that change the air and the mind follows. I need a bit of fresh air is a common saying that we say when we are trying to, when we feel too suffocated or too nervous by things. So now let's look at it in a more clinical way through Ayurveda. So Ayurveda calls the air principle as vata. Now, Vata governs the nervous system, the sensory movement, the thinking, and the creativity. So, when Vata is balanced, mind is alert, mind is creative, mind is clear. And when Vata is imbalanced, there is racing thoughts, there's anxiety, fear, insomnia. As our age progresses, we are turning more and more into Vata body type. The Vata gets imbalance is more likely to happen. Hence, the memory is directly affected. There's memory loss that happens. It's a Vata related issue. So Ayurveda says too much air is equal to too many thoughts. Again, same insight, how air is connected to mind. Now, a little bit occult. So it's very surprising, but even tarot, it developed in a completely different culture. It's not Indian, it's not Vedic, yet air is equal to mind, air is equal to intellect, air is equal to communication, and air is conflict when unbalanced. And that is why the suit of swords in tarot, it represents the same things, the thoughts, the analysis, the decision making, and mental struggle. So we have correlated, tarot practitioners look at swords as the air element. Why swords? Because thoughts can cut, yeah, they can bring clarity or pain. Same understanding, different language. Now, during the air phase, we practiced becoming the sacred observer, like an eagle. I had given this example. So, high above, watching movement below, not caught in it. The eagle does not stop the wind, it uses the wind. Similarly, you don't stop the thoughts, you learn to relate differently to them. This is what we did in our week together today. And the simple truth here is, like, if I can put it in a very simplest way, the mind is connected to air because both are subtle, both are restless, invisible forces. When they move too much, there is chaos. When they settle, clarity appears, isn't it? And that's it. Like, there's no jargon, no stretching, no confusion here. I hope it makes it very clear. Now, why it's important for your life? If you understand this, if you understand air, if you understand mind, you stop fighting your mind. Instead of saying my mind is bad, I'm having a bad mind, you say there's too much movement right now. I need to sit still. Some of you, if you notice, some of you may have a tendency to walk while you're thinking. Movement clears your thought. And for some of you, it's stillness. Sitting quietly will clear your thoughts. So that's what's working for you. This is observation. It does no right or wrong. It's how air is working for you. You use it. And then you can either choose to slow down, breathe, create space, reduce the stimulation. And that is the wisdom we are trying to uncover. Yeah. Even in the Bhakti Yoga and Krishna consciousness, we don't try to conquer the mind by force. No? Prabhupada never said that, there was this beautiful pastime, how to control the mind while chanting. So Prabhupada said, you only speak and you listen. We don't try to control the mind. We create conditions like, you're chanting loudly and you're listening to the mantra. When you listen, you're just creating condition, that flow of breath, the air, technically all these things is happening, but just listening to the mantra, it's air. That's what we did in this week. We only listened, to different things. And that does all the purpose. The mind automatically gets controlled. So one of you shared with me in the personal message about how they thought they expected their mind to really rage, but the moment they sit still, the mind automatically got calm. That's how easy it is actually, if we don't try to fight it. Yeah. Still air, clear space, gentle awareness, everything we did this week, we cleared our space, and so many of you have benefited from this. When the air settles, like, tufan aata hai, when there's a storm, you can't see anything. But when the air is gentle and breezy, things become very clear. It's like, when there's no air, the lake is also very settled. And when the lake is settled, it becomes clear. And then you can very easily reflect. The reflection becomes visible. Yeah. So that was about it. Thank you for asking these kind of questions. This really helps me give you more answers. So if you have more questions, shoot them and I'll try to answer as much as possible. This was really great. So I chose to convert it into a video. I hope that was helpful. Yeah. All right, then. Thank you so much for completing the air journey today and tomorrow. Once again, we are beginning with the new element surprise. I'll give it tomorrow. All right. Take care. Hare Krishna.